I would close by saying that there's a lot of resources out in the community. Someone might find some stuff on Founders Live around this, but I think like when you look at Tim Ferriss, you look at, I'll push the Reboot podcast because I actually think so. Reboot podcast is Jerry Colonna, and he and his crew put together such amazing content around this exact challenge, which is the psychological and emotional and spiritual issues that founders struggle with. Right. And pretty much every week they've got a new podcast with a guest on there that is describing a different problem, and I find myself listening and saying, yeah, like I've got the same issues, or oh my gosh, or I will come back to this podcast the moment I have these issues. And so this type of stuff is so valuable, and that's why like we were talking about this. It's not like we're talking about, hey, you got covered in XYZ media, website or blog or whatever. We're talking about some of the challenges that we all founders have, and how do we cope with it? Because that's going to lead to success, not coverage in media. It's actually how do we emotionally and psychologically come to grips with this is a challenging problem, but we're going to overcome it. So that's why I love Founders Live. And I think we mentioned this before. Like I said, it was kind of like a combination of things, and you take the best out of everything. But since I mentioned Brian Johnson mentioned about getting founders together who actually live it, and because founders don't want to let their families down, right? So they won't share everything with them, and that in turn can fracture a family a little bit. But founders, when you get together, we all have the same problems, sufferings. Most of it's monetary, but not always, right? And to have that group, it's almost like AA, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm a founder. It's been my 25th day. Oh my God. Yeah. Yes, hi Pete, right? That's what Founders Live is. I mean, we acknowledge the fact that, hey, we're all there, and you're creating something for them, not just a resource like we want you to be successful, but I think there is a certain personality trait that, and I don't want to call it a flaw, but I call it a drive. Disease. I call it is a disease. Yeah. And it's a great disease. Yeah. And I think anyone that has this is blessed because they're looking at the world, creating value, trying to better themselves and better the world. You just said it, better the world. Yeah. Because I don't care what type of technology you have, whatever. If you're not doing it to improve the world, and that's how I was able to reconcile, how do we move the technology? How do we create something to make something better for other people, and in turn better the world? So thank you for summarizing that. You're welcome, and thank you for being here. We're out of time. Oh man. But welcome. Glad to chat with you. Yeah, Thanks for the beer. And thank you for the beer, for sure. So cheers. Yeah, for sure.